Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a competition that's mostly happening out of sight, but is absolutely critical to the global economy. It's this silent, high-stakes sprint to create the first port without people.
A fully autonomous, continuous Level 4 container terminal. And the unofficial deadline that technology has set is 2028. It's coming up fast.
Right, so we've gone through everything from port development plans to economic reports to figure out who's going to win. We're looking at the big five: Shanghai, Singapore, Rotterdam, Dubai, and Tanger-Med. Who gets there first?
And our mission today is to dig into the why. What's driving this? Why is this L4 benchmark so critical? It's about way more than just cool robots.
So it's not just about moving more boxes faster.
Not just that, it's about moving beyond sheer scale. The real prize is resilience and what the analysts call cadence. Predictable, non-stop, error-free operations. 200/7, no matter what.
Okay, cadence. So like a clockwork operation. How does that actually save money for a shipping company?
It takes the randomness out of the equation. It targets the single biggest variable in shipping, which is time spent in port. You get rid of shift changes, human error, fatigue, all those little hiccups.
And that adds up.
It adds up big time. One source estimated that a true L4 port could cut the time a ship is under port management by up to 30%.
30%. For a ship that costs tens of thousands of dollars a day to run, that is a game changer.
It's a massive game changer. Predictability becomes the ultimate profit driver.
Okay, so let's define the finish line. When we say a level 4 fully autonomous port by 2028, what does a port actually have to do to claim that title?
It's a really tough standard. It means continuous L4 automation across 4 key areas. First up, the big cranes that unload the ship, the quay cranes.
The ship-to-shore ones.
Exactly. They have to be fully remote or autonomous. 0 people on site in the handling zone.
So the box is off the ship, it's on the dock. What's next?
Next is the yard. That's where you have AI-driven systems managing automated stacking cranes. They're not just stacking boxes, they're predicting where each container needs to go and when it will be picked up for maximum efficiency.
And this is where it gets tricky, right? Moving it from the crane to the stack.
This is where the race is won or lost. The horizontal transport. This has to be done by Level 4 autonomous guided vehicles, or AGVs, and this is the key phrase, operating in sustained commercial service.
Meaning this isn't a test run, it's the real deal, day in, day out.
The real deal. It means the AI can handle the chaos of a real port mixed traffic, changing routes, different weights reliably and safely, without a human hand. The tech is there. We see contracts in Chinese ports like Ningbo Zhoushan that already require this L4 autonomous driving through 2028.
So the technology is mature, it's really just a race to implement it at scale.
It's an execution race.
Okay, one last point before we get to the contenders. This whole competition, it's a landside contest, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about autonomous ships pulling up to the dock.
No, not at all. The regulatory side for ships is just moving way too slowly. The IMO, the global shipping regulator, won't even have a non-mandatory code ready until maybe May 2026.
Well, a mandatory one is a decade away, easily.
At least, so focusing on the ship and the port together right now is a huge risk. The smart money is focused entirely on dominating the dock.
Got it. Okay, let's turn to the front runners then, the 2 Asian giants, Shanghai and Singapore. One is in a sprint, the other is running a marathon. Let's start with Shanghai.
Shanghai is, without a doubt, the favorite. I mean, the scale is just staggering. They run the world's busiest container port, moving something like 51.5 million TEUs in 2024.
And they already have the foundation for this, right?
They do. Their main platform, Yangshan Phase 4, has been the world's biggest operational automated terminal since 2017. They have years of real-world data.
So they're not starting from scratch. They're optimizing a system that's already proven. What's their big technical advantage?
2 things: self-sufficiency and orchestration. They use their own in-house L4 systems, and everything is run by this central management system they call the Smart Brain.
The Smart Brain. What does that actually do?
It's more than just a scheduler. It's using predictive analytics in real time. It sees a potential bottleneck forming in one part of the yard and will proactively reroute AGVs or change stacking plans before it becomes a problem.
It's managing the whole terminal like a single intelligent organism.
Exactly. And then you have their huge structural advantage.
Non-technical part.
Right. Centralized state policy control means they can push this through without worrying about the kind of systemic labor delays that you see constantly slowing down Western ports.
Yeah.
That gives them a decisive edge in the final sprint.
That's the perfect contract to Singapore. Tuas Megaport is an incredible vision, but it's a marathon.
That's the best way to frame it. Tuas is a generational project. We're talking about a facility designed to handle 65 million TEUs a year when it's finally done in the 2040s.
65 million. That
Yeah.
is just, it's a mind-boggling number. That's the future. But what about right now?
Right now, phase one is up and running. It handled 10 million TEUs by early 2025 using automated cranes and a fleet of electric AGVs. They are very advanced.
And their focus is heavily on sustainability, too.
Hugely. They're aiming to cut carbon emissions by half, running on electric vehicles, solar power. The goal is a net zero facility. It's incredibly forward-thinking.
So if they're so advanced and so green, why aren't they our pick to win the 2028 race?
It really just boils down to their core strategy. The investment and the timeline are spread out over 2 decades. They're building for 2040. Shanghai is building for right now. They want that first to L4 title, and they've structured everything to get it.
An immediate win versus a long-term dynasty. Okay, let's shift gears and head west. What about the challengers in Europe and the Middle East? Let's start with Rotterdam.
Rotterdam is a really interesting case, a high-risk, high-reward challenger. They are serious about this. They have a very aggressive goal to deploy 30 L4 electric tractors into mixed traffic by the first quarter of 2027.
Wait, mixed traffic, what does that mean?
It means their autonomous vehicles will be operating right alongside trucks with human drivers, maintenance crews, you name it.
So not in a closed-off, fully automated zone like in Shanghai.
Exactly. It's technically much, much harder. It requires an incredibly sophisticated AI that can handle unpredictable human behavior.
That's ambitious. So what's the big risk? What's the headwind that could stop them?
It's the environment they operate in. Rotterdam is in a heavily unionized part of Europe. The risk of major labor disputes or strikes derailing that 2027 timeline is very, very real. It's a kind of friction that Shanghai just doesn't have to deal with.
Right. Okay, let's look further south. Dubai and Tangermed. Are they in the running for this specific L4 title?
They're both logistics powerhouses, but they're playing a different game. Dubai's Jebel Ali port, run by DP World, is focused on profitability and scaling its global network. They're very advanced, but their big innovation is something called the BoxBay system.
BoxBay? What's that?
Imagine a giant 11-story warehouse for containers right in the yard. Instead of stacking them on top of each other, each container gets its own individual slot, like books on a shelf.
So you never have to move 5 boxes to get to the one at the bottom.
Precisely. It cuts down on wasted moves by something like 65% and saves a ton of space. It's brilliant, but their goal is to scale that profitable tech globally, not necessarily to win this specific 2028 race.
And Tangerbed in Morocco.
Tangermed's growth is incredible, over 10 million TEUs, and Morocco is building more deep-water capacity. But their strategic driver is becoming a regional logistics hub, expanding capacity and getting into new things like green hydrogen, L4 container handling supremacy by 2028. It's just not their top priority. They're out of the running for this title.
So if we pull back, it seems like the tech is basically ready to go. The sensors, the AI, the vehicles, it's all there. This means the race isn't being decided by who has the best robot.
Not at all. It's being decided by friction, or, more accurately, the lack of it.
And the biggest source of friction is?
Labor and policy. The ability to mitigate that non-technological friction is the single most decisive factor in this race. This is where you see the stark difference between the centralized models in Asia and the West.
Right. You have predictable execution in Shanghai versus, say, the U.S., where union opposition has historically blocked this kind of automation.
Exactly. The sources we looked at pointed out that this resistance can act, in their words, like a cost-extractive cartel, embedding high labor costs into every single container that moves through. And you see the result in the data. There isn't a single U.S. port in the global top 35 for efficiency.
So that constant risk of labor action is what makes Rotterdam's plans so risky, while Shanghai can move ahead with almost total certainty.
Precisely. Now, for Shanghai, their big risk isn't labor, it's cybersecurity. A fully autonomous port has to run continuously. A cyber attack that forces a shutdown, even for a few hours, means you're no longer truly L4.
The entire multi-billion-dollar operation hangs on the security of its software.
That's the new vulnerability. The winner has to master resilience. We see Rotterdam using digital twins to simulate attacks, Singapore using predictive maintenance, but Shanghai's advantage is that its systems have been running at scale, 247 for years. They're already battle-hardened.
Okay, we've covered the tech, the strategies, and the structural roadblocks. The verdict seems clear. So who wins the race to the world's first sustained level 4 fully autonomous port by 2028.
The analysis all points to one clear winner. It's going to be Shanghai.
And the final rationale is that three-pillar argument you mentioned.
Yes. First, their existing scale and proven tech at Yangshan. Second, the commercial viability of their L4 transport systems already being deployed across the country. And third, and most important, is that structural advantage. State support and minimal labor friction. It lets them accelerate into the finish line under perfect de-risked conditions.
It's just amazing to see how fast this is all moving.
Mm.
A job like a dock worker, which was always so physical and local, is now becoming a job in a control room, managing data.
It is. And that transition from a blue-collar physical job to a white-collar digital one inside the port is a sign of something much bigger. You have to ask yourself, if AI can master the incredible chaos of a container terminal by 2028, what's next? Where does that friction in the labor market show up next? Is it possible that the next big wave of technological displacement will hit information-based jobs like accounting or legal work or even writing before we even finish automating all the manual work in the world? Something to think about.